Hello, my name is Danielle Gallegos, and for this week, for the narrative criticism essay, I chose to do it. I actually have the book right here on my favorite childhood story, which is Shy Guy. I loved this book when I was really little. Have this completely memorized. I actually have had this book in my room. I'm 21 now, this whole time, and so it's always just been easy access to me, and I've loved it just because of the story and growing up. It was very relatable to me, and this is something I'm definitely gonna read to my kids one day, hopefully. So yeah, anyways, on to the actual essay portion. I just wanted to share a little bit on how much I loved it, which is why I was so excited to write this paper. So yeah, it was written by, as I mentioned, I don't know if I said it, was Gillies Thibault and illustrated by Peth. It was originally published in Switzerland in 2002 and was later translated to English in 2002. So it's originally from Switzerland, which I thought was super interesting. The book is about a young boy by the name of Greg who has a difficult time communicating what he's feeling and what he wants. And because of that, he gets embarrassed. And because he feels embarrassed, his face gets really red. And because his face gets really red, he then hates the color red. And one day, his parents ask him what he wants. And he says he wants just a small little goldfish. And the most ironic thing is when he goes to the pet store, he chooses a red goldfish. But the reason why he chooses this small red goldfish is because, he realizes that the goldfish has a lot of the similar qualities as he does, that he's very shy and scared and timid. So he kind of feels bad for him, but he also kind of knows what he's going through as well. They're both kind of shy. And, they kind of help each other out to break out of these shy shells and begin to go out there and making friends and become more sociable. Through this story, I will research that people communicate in different ways and that sometimes in our communications that you may need a little bit of help. So yeah, there are different parts to this story. So the theme to this story is courage, and that's because well, let me give you the whole rundown of the story real quick. I'm so sorry. So kind of starting off from the birthday thing, after the main character's name is Greg. After Greg gets Shy Guy, by the way, that's what he names the fish, Shy Guy, because he's shy and he's a little guy. So they kind of start off really shy from each other, and then they kind of start growing closer together. It's really weird, but it's super adorable, super cute, and yeah, and because of that, Greg gets super excited and he starts showing him around his room and his secret hiding place and his chair and his desk and his table. And then he even takes him to the park. And all the kids come running up to Greg, like, oh my God, is that a real fish? And then Greg gets super freaked out because he's like, whoa, all these people are coming up to me. And then after that, he takes a Shy Guy on the swing with him, and then after that he takes him on the slide with him, except Greg pushes Shy Guy down the sled by himself, and then all of a sudden, because I think he's made an emotional connection um, with Shy Guy, that he's like, this Shy Guy is more important than my own fears, that he starts shouting to the other kids, he's not a fake fish, he's a real fish. His name is Shy Guy and he's red. Someone please catch my fish. And all the other kids gather around to help catch Shy Guy, which they do. So that was kind of a barrier breaking moment for Greg and Shy Guy amongst the other kids. And then the next day, Greg has to go to school but is very sad to leave Shy Guy at home by himself, and so he decides to take Shy Guy with him, and he's at school, and his teacher is very interested in his fish and asks him, "Do you want to share a little bit about your fish?" And Greg kind of brushes it off and doesn't really say anything. He's kind of hoping that the teacher forgot about it, but right before the bell rings for lunch, his teacher calls him up there, and all of a sudden, all his fears just kind of go away, and he's talking and talking and talking, and the words don't feel stuck in his throat anymore. They're flowing out of his mouth, and he keeps talking and talking until until the bell rings. So he had a lot of things to say, which was another groundbreaking thing. And at the end of the story, Greg is explaining that how he has so many friends now and they all come over his house, and sometimes they even bring their pets. It even shows, I want to find it real quick. It even shows someone with like an elephant and a dog and a cat, and at the end he's saying, you know, everyone brings their pets, but like I think my pet is the best overall, which I think is super sweet. So that's the whole story, is that because of this fish, Greg is able to break out of this barrier of feeling scared, maybe a little awkward. So that was kind of where I was going with the theme, that I believe the theme is courage, because you know, and kind of going back to the research question, that you know, he did need a little bit of help through Shy Guy to be able to break down that barrier to communicate and make friends and be able to live a normal childhood life. So yeah, let's see some of the objections. There was 3 objections in the story. It was to encourage action, to socialize into a community, and to maintain or create community. So to encourage action was through Shy Guy. You know, when the kids came up to Greg at the park, that was kind of asking about Shy Guy. That was kind of like an encouraging way to be able to start getting him to talk to other people. And he ended up talking to other kids when Shy Guy was going down the slide. And yeah, and the next one was to socialize into a community, kind of similar what I just said. You know, he was able to break down those barriers because he made kind of that emotional connection with Shy Guy, because they had that common ground of being shy, and he felt bad for him. And not only did he feel bad for him, he knew what he was going through as well. So, and at the end, just as I mentioned, the super sweet ending, to maintain or create community, Greg was able to create this community of friends that also had pets, that they all got to hang out together. And it was also that he also mentioned his friends come over all the time, which meant that he was able to maintain that community of friendship with these people. So obviously the 2 main characters are Greg and Shy Guy. They are definitely a duo. They are presented as shy and timid, and eventually they kind of grow out of that and become this social fish and this social young boy. The narrator is Greg. He is the first person narrator. We are able to see very clearly and specifically what his feelings are, and he's able to describe them in a way that you wouldn't be able to get with second, maybe third. You know, at the beginning he says, you know, the words get stuck in my throat and the numbers get stuck in my throat as well. I believe he said, what does he say? He says, I had trouble with numbers too. If someone asked me how much is 7 plus 4 minus 2, the numbers all got scrambled in my head. The 7s bump into the 4s and the 4s crashed into the 2s. And of course, I blushed bright red. So I think because it was in first person, we were able to kind of get that. I don't know if poetic sense is the right thing, but we were able to receive that as well. I believe the major events that happened were when he brought Shy Guy out after the barrier was broken between them two. And it was when he pushed Shy Guy down the slide, and you know, like there was something bigger than his fears, and that was Shy Guy. And he was able to say, hey, like, someone help me get my fish. And the next one was when he was able to kind of talk about it in class, you know, on his own without anything pushing him. You know, it was just that little thing he needed to give him that edge to be able to talk and to not be afraid anymore. So that was really cool. The temporal relationships were his parents. You only see them once in the story, which is when they ask him what he wants for his birthday. And the second one is with his teacher, when his teacher asks him to share a little bit about his fish in class. The casual relations are with the new friends he's made, you know, with the ones at the park and the ones at school and the ones that he's made with other pets that come over his house all the time. That they had an effect on him at the beginning when they came up to him and they asked, "Oh my God, is that a real fish? Like, what's his name? Is it a boy or a girl?" That he was able to later kind of talk and say, "Hey, like, he's a real fish. He's red. His name is Shy Guy. It's a boy. Someone please catch him." The intended audience was, I believe, for young children, based off of Greg, who is a young boy who is our main character, as well as some of the illustration as well. As I mentioned in my essay, that you know, in pet stores you don't see elephants and bears and tigers in pet stores for sale. You also don't see a cat owner as a pet store owner. I have to show you. It's kind of cool. It's kind of insane. Little sidetracked, but I love this book like this. You see? Okay, anyways, so yeah, and and also the words are in small chunks as well, and the word choice is very simple. There aren't words that you're like, what does that mean? Or like, okay, that's a little bit bigger word. No, the word choice is very simple. The chunks are very tiny. So yeah, anyways, that was my paper. The overall conclusion was that, and the answer to my research question was that yes, you know, I think this book really shows that some people do need that extra help, some in their communication. It might not always be as simple as getting a fish that breaks you out of your. Sometimes it is actually, which is really cool, but sometimes it isn't always easy to communicate, and you might need a little help, and that's totally okay. I mean, look at Greg. And yeah, anyways, thank you so much.